I really tried my best, please watch the video until the end.
The heavy stone doors of the Grand Academy slowly opened. Cold wind rushed through the massive marble entrance hall. I stepped forward into the center of the giant magical arena. Thousands of glowing candles floated high above the grand stage. Elite noble students wore expensive silk uniforms with runes. The air smelled of burning ozone and sweet magical incense. I wore a simple dark cloth uniform without a single enchantment. The heavy fabric weighed down heavily upon my tired shoulders. Elite students stared at my completely empty dark cloth uniform. They whispered harsh insults about my ruined noble bloodline. My family name Veilcrest meant absolute magical supremacy. My father conquered 3 entire kingdoms with his war magic. He burned enemy cities to the ground using giant solar flares. My older brother shattered mountains using his glowing sword. He cut through solid steel armor with concentrated mana strikes. My sister controlled violent elemental storms with one hand. She drowned entire fleets of ships under freezing tidal waves. I possessed absolutely 0 mana inside my weak human body. The world treated me like a broken defect of human nature. Even the lowest castle servants looked down upon my existence. I watched the bright elemental spirits float above the crowd. The intense magical heat burned the air inside the giant room. I felt nothing but cold emptiness inside my own hollow chest. The magical system of this world refused to read my broken soul. An arrogant professor pointed his wooden staff at my pale face. The glowing blue evaluation crystal floated down from the roof. I placed my bare right hand onto the cold, smooth glass surface. The ancient artifact searched for my internal hidden mana core. A loud buzzing sound echoed across the silent gray stone arena. The bright blue light flickered and died within 5 seconds. Giant red letters materialized high above the central stage. The system displayed a massive warning about my empty status. System alert. No mana core detected inside the current subject. Thousands of elite noble students erupted into cruel laughter. The sound waves physically vibrated against my dark uniform. I kept my face completely blank without showing any emotion. A wealthy aristocratic boy threw a weak fire spell near my boots. The tiny orange flame burned the gray stone floor into black ash. I simply stepped over the smoking crater with heavy footsteps. The professor demanded my immediate removal from the grand hall. He called me the shameful hollow noble of the Veilcrest family. 2 armored academy guards stepped forward to grab my shoulders. Their heavy metal boots slammed against the smooth marble floor. I prepared to leave this useless ceremony without a single fight. Then a violent earthquake suddenly shattered the ground below. The massive stone pillars cracked under the sudden kinetic force. A terrifying dark energy ripped through the center of the arena. The bright elemental spirits instantly dissolved into black smoke. Elite mages dropped to their knees in sheer sudden physical agony. The invisible magical pressure crushed their lungs instantly. I stood perfectly still while the entire academy collapsed around. A gigantic black crack opened wide across the central stage. Thick, dark chains shot out from the deep underground abyss. The heavy metal links slammed violently into the broken floor. An ancient object slowly rose from the bottomless dark pit. The terrifying artifact was forged from pure heavy obsidian stone. It was the legendary forbidden throne of the ancient world. Centuries ago, the strongest Archmage abandoned this exact seat. The throne devoured all surrounding magic with absolute force. The arrogant professor fell unconscious onto the broken stone. His vast mana reserves were violently ripped from his weak body. The magical shields protecting the elite students turned to dust. Glowing blue runes on the academy walls turned completely black. I felt absolutely no pressure from the terrifying dark artifact. The deadly magical vacuum simply bypassed my empty human body. The massive black throne radiated an intense, freezing cold aura. Dark energy pulsed outward like a giant beating mechanical heart. The surviving archmages screamed in pure terror and blind panic. They crawled toward the heavy wooden exits with desperate speed. I walked slowly toward the forbidden seat of absolute power. The thick black chains parted to clear a wide path for me. Every single step echoed loudly across the silent, ruined arena. The ancient Archmage Astriel created this weapon to destroy magic. For 8 centuries, this throne murdered anyone who approached it. The artifact hated the very existence of mana inside human souls. My absolute lack of magic made me the perfect empty vessel. I placed my bare hand against the freezing black obsidian armrest. A sudden massive surge of dark energy rushed through my veins. The world around me lost all color and turned completely gray. System alert, Hollow Throne connection successfully established. System alert. The successor has been accepted by the Ancient Void. System alert, new authority granted for absolute spell collapse. I sat down upon the massive dark seat of the Forgotten Ruler. The entire academy structure groaned under the intense new gravity. The world was secretly controlled by a hidden living magic network. This ancient system drained life energy from common people daily. The stolen power fed directly into the elite royal bloodlines. Astrael discovered this horrifying truth 8 centuries ago. He tried to destroy the corrupt system using his supreme power. The Church of Magic erased his existence from human history. Now I became the second person capable of breaking their reality. The strongest noble student suddenly stood up from the broken floor. He wore the golden uniform of the Royal Imperial Magic bloodline. His face twisted into a mask of pure, ugly, desperate human rage. He refused to accept my sudden elevation to absolute supreme power. The Golden Boy chanted a forbidden high-tier destruction spell. A gigantic sphere of crackling blue lightning formed above his head. The violent electrical current melted the surrounding stone pillars. He launched the massive lightning strike directly at my chest. The blinding blue light illuminated the dark, ruined Academy Hall. I did not move from the freezing, cold, dark obsidian throne seat. I simply raised my right hand toward the incoming deadly attack. The new system instantly revealed the hidden structure of his magic. Glowing red lines appeared across the giant flying lightning sphere. I saw the weak overload points inside his unstable mana formula. My bare fingers lightly tapped the empty air in front of my face. The kinetic force of my simple physical touch shattered the core. The gigantic lightning spell instantly stopped in midair before me. The blue electrical energy suddenly turned into harmless black ash. The dark dust rained down quietly upon the broken marble floor. The golden noble student fell backward onto the hard, cold ground. His mind could not process the absolute destruction of his magic. System alert. Enemy spell structure has been completely collapsed. System alert. Surrounding mana devoured by the dark hollow throne. I looked down at the pathetic kneeling mages from my high seat. Their entire society was built upon the unfair power of mana. They mocked my empty existence for 18 long, miserable years. Now their precious magical foundation was cracking under my weight. The hollow throne pulsed with a deep, dark mechanical rhythm. I felt the stolen magical energy flowing into the ancient artifact. The system projected another glowing blue window above my hand. System alert. Forbidden reconstruction ability is fully available. I gathered the floating black ash from the destroyed magic spell. The dark particles merged together into a solid, sharp black blade. This was not a normal magical weapon created from natural elements. This was a corrupted evolution born from dead, destroyed magic. I threw the black blade directly at the golden noble student. The dark weapon pierced the thick stone floor right beside his head. The anti-magic field around the blade drained his physical strength. He gasped for air like a drowning man in a frozen winter lake. His expensive artifacts cracked under the intense dark pressure. The giant arena remained perfectly silent before my new throne. The era of arrogant mages controlling this world was finally over. I became the walking nightmare of every single magic user alive. System alert, first anti-magic territory successfully claimed today. System alert title acquired heir of the hollow throne. I rested my head against the cold black stone of my new seat. The magical hierarchy of the world was about to fall apart. The cold, dark stone of the throne absorbed the ambient heat. Dust settled slowly over the broken marble academy floor. My new absolute power felt like a heavy, solid iron weight. A loud explosion suddenly shattered the eastern academy wall. Thick gray smoke poured into the ruined central arena hall. The elite royal guards finally arrived to restore strict order. 12 armored mages stepped through the broken stone rubble. Their heavy silver boots crushed the remaining glass fragments. They still believed their pathetic magic could easily save them. The headmaster followed closely behind his elite royal guards. He held a glowing red wooden staff carved from ancient oak. His immense magical pressure cracked the floor beneath his feet. He was an archmage capable of burning entire mountain ranges. He stopped walking and stared at my dark, solid obsidian throne. The old man recognized the forbidden artifact almost immediately. His physical body trembled under the heavy, dark, cold atmosphere. He commanded his loyal guards to execute me without any delay. 12 complex red magic circles materialized in the empty air. The guards chanted an ancient high-tier fire destruction spell. Massive spears of condensed fire formed directly above their heads. The intense thermal radiation melted the surrounding broken stone. I remained completely motionless upon my freezing dark stone seat. The system projected a new transparent blue window before my face. System alert. Multiple hostile mana signatures detected nearby today. System alert. Beginning automatic mana devour protocol right now. The 12 flaming spears launched directly toward my human chest. They crossed the invisible boundary of my new dark, empty territory. The glowing red magic circles suddenly cracked into tiny pieces. The massive fire spears instantly dissolved into black smoke. The kinetic energy of their combined attack vanished into the void. The hollow throne absorbed their entire combined magical power. The 12 elite guards collapsed onto their heavy armored knees. Their internal mana cores were completely drained of all energy. I felt their stolen power flowing rapidly through the dark throne. The ancient artifact converted their magic into raw physical force. The arrogant headmaster stepped forward with furious sudden speed. He slammed his glowing red wooden staff against the ruined floor. A giant golden dome of pure energy covered the entire broken arena. He attempted to isolate my dark territory from the outside world. The golden barrier pulsed with immense, highly concentrated power. I slowly stood up from the freezing cold, dark obsidian throne seat. The heavy, dark chains rattled loudly against the broken gray stone. I walked down the shattered marble steps toward the old man. Every single step released a wave of pure, dark kinetic force. The golden barrier began to flicker under my physical presence. He chanted the forbidden ancient words of absolute spatial locking. The surrounding air pressure increased to a highly lethal level. Gravity multiplied 10 times over my weak, fragile human body. The intense physical weight threatened to crush my internal bones. But the hollow system completely rejected his pathetic magical law. System alert. Hostile spatial manipulation has been fully blocked. The invisible crushing weight instantly vanished into nothing. I continued walking forward without slowing my steady, calm pace. The headmaster realized his supreme magic was entirely useless. Panic replaced the arrogant confidence on his wrinkled old face. He pulled a sharp silver dagger from his expensive silk robes. The old Archmage decided to kill me with simple physical steel. He charged forward with surprising speed for an ancient dying man. The sharp silver blade aimed directly at my exposed human throat. I raised my bare right hand to intercept his desperate attack. The system activated my new forbidden reconstruction ability. System alert converting devoured mana into physical structure. Thick black ash gathered rapidly around my empty right hand. The dark particles forged a solid gauntlet of pure void metal. I caught his sharp silver dagger effortlessly in the empty midair. The kinetic impact sent a shockwave through the ruined hall. My dark metal gauntlet crushed the expensive, fragile magical blade. Sharp, broken silver fragments fell onto the ruined marble floor. The old headmaster stared at his empty, trembling, weak old hands. I punched him directly in the center of his weak, fragile chest. The heavy physical blow shattered his protective rib bones. The kinetic force threw his fragile body across the large room. He crashed violently into the glowing golden solid magical barrier. His broken physical body slid down the bright energy wall slowly. The strongest Archmage in the Academy was now completely defeated. I did not even use a single drop of natural, pure magical mana. My power came exclusively from the destruction of their world. The 12 kneeling guards watched their leader fall in terror. They finally understood the true meaning of absolute total despair. I turned my attention back toward the massive golden barrier. The glowing energy dome trapped us inside the ruined academy. I placed my dark metal gauntlet against the bright, hot surface. The hollow system immediately analyzed the complex structure. System alert, giant magical barrier core has been located. System alert, structural weakness detected in the lower left corner. I pushed my heavy armored hand directly into the golden light. The entire dome shattered like cheap, thin, fragile, broken glass. Millions of bright golden shards rained down from the high ceiling. The falling magical fragments dissolved into harmless black ash. A sudden sharp, intense pain exploded deep inside my human brain. The ancient hollow throne transmitted a hidden memory fragment. My vision instantly shifted into a dark, cold underground cavern. I saw the original creator of my dark artifact standing there. Astrael wore a simple gray cloth cloak covered in fresh red blood. He stood before a massive beating heart made of pure blue mana. Giant organic tubes connected the heart to the surface world. The tubes pumped stolen life energy into the noble families. I watched Astrael strike the giant heart with a black sword. The memory violently ended and returned me to the ruined hall. System alert. First truth of the ancient world has been revealed. The magical hierarchy was built upon endless human sacrifice. They drained the weak commoners to create their elite mages. My own family participated in this disgusting global slaughter. The Hollow Throne was not just a simple weapon of pure destruction. It was the only tool capable of breaking this corrupt machine. Loud, heavy bells began ringing across the entire capital city. The arcane church finally noticed the massive magical collapse. Their giant white cathedral floated high above the royal palace. I walked out of the ruined academy through the broken wooden doors. The cold evening wind hit my face with intense physical force. Thousands of armed noble mages gathered in the large courtyard. They rode giant armored beasts covered in glowing blue runes. The high priest of the arcane church hovered in the dark sky. He rode a flying chariot pulled by 4 huge lightning dragons. The priest pointed his golden staff directly at my dark uniform. His amplified voice echoed across the silent stone courtyard. He declared me a dangerous heretic of the highest possible order. He ordered the entire magical army to vaporize my physical body. Thousands of complex magic circles illuminated the dark night sky. The combined thermal energy turned the cold air into an oven. I felt absolutely no fear looking at their massive magical army. The hollow throne pulsed steadily beneath the ruined stone academy. Thick, dark chains erupted from the broken ground around my boots. The heavy metal links formed a massive defensive perimeter. System alert. Activating maximum range of the dark hollow territory. A giant dome of pure black energy expanded outward from my body. The dark wave washed over the thousands of gathered noble mages. The glowing blue runes on their heavy armored beasts shattered. The giant magical creatures collapsed onto the hard stone floor. Thousands of charging destruction spells completely fizzled out. The bright night sky instantly turned completely pitch black. The 4 lightning dragons pulling the high priest disintegrated. Their electrical bodies turned into harmless, dark falling ash. The heavy golden chariot plummeted directly toward the courtyard. It smashed into the stone floor with a massive kinetic explosion. The high priest crawled out of the burning golden metal wreckage. His expensive holy robes were torn and covered in thick, dark mud. He tried to cast a simple healing spell on his broken left arm. A tiny green light flickered in his hand before dying completely. He stared at his empty palms with absolute, pure, complete horror. The old high priest stared at his empty, trembling hands. He could not comprehend the sudden loss of his magic. His entire life was built upon stolen divine power. I walked toward the broken, burning, golden metal chariot. My heavy footsteps echoed across the silent, dark courtyard. The ruined magical beasts whimpered on the cold stone. Thousands of elite nobles watched my slow, steady approach. Their expensive magic weapons were now completely useless. The system projected a new blue window above my head. System alert. Massive holy energy signature detected nearby. The desperate priest pulled a glowing white crystal out. He crushed the ancient divine artifact with his fingers. A blinding pillar of white light shot into the dark sky. The kinetic shockwave pushed my physical body backward. He attempted to summon a supreme angel of pure destruction. The massive white light formed a giant glowing humanoid. The holy creature raised a gigantic burning white sword. The surrounding air temperature increased to boiling point. I felt the intense thermal radiation against my cold skin. The hollow throne pulsed violently beneath the academy ruins. Thick black chains shot upward into the glowing white sky. The heavy metal links wrapped around the giant angel. The holy creature struggled against the dark physical binds. System alert. Commencing absolute divine spell collapse now. The black chains drained the pure white magic instantly. The giant angel shattered into millions of glass fragments. The falling holy shards turned into harmless black ash. The high priest fell flat onto his face in total despair. His ultimate divine weapon failed to scratch my dark uniform. I stood directly above his weak, trembling physical body. The old man begged for his pathetic, miserable little life. I placed my heavy dark metal gauntlet on his bald head. The system immediately analyzed his internal mana network. System alert. Extracting stolen life energy from the target. A violent surge of dark power rushed through my empty arm. The priest lost consciousness from the sudden kinetic shock. His body went completely limp on the broken stone floor. I absorbed his entire lifetime of stolen magical reserves. The dark throne converted the holy magic into raw strength. My physical muscles expanded under the intense new pressure. The gathered noble mages finally broke their silent shock. They turned around and ran toward the heavy steel gates. Their expensive silk robes tore against the sharp stone. Panic completely destroyed their arrogant, aristocratic social masks. They pushed each other down to escape my dark territory. I refused to let these corrupt murderers leave this place. The system unlocked another forbidden reconstruction skill. System alert. Spatial lock authority is now fully active. I slammed my dark metal gauntlet into the cracked ground. A massive wave of black energy rushed across the courtyard. The dark pulse hit the giant heavy steel courtyard gates. The metal doors melted and fused together into solid iron. The escaping nobles crashed into the impenetrable black wall. Their physical bodies bounced off the cold, solid obstacle. They were completely trapped inside my new dark domain. No one could use teleportation magic inside this dead zone. The royal knights decided to fight me with physical weapons. 50 heavily armored warriors charged across the courtyard. Their heavy steel boots shook the broken marble foundation. They carried massive broadswords enchanted with wind magic. The magical wind made their heavy weapons incredibly light. They swung their giant blades directly at my exposed neck. I simply stood still and waited for the kinetic impact. The glowing wind magic entered my dark absolute territory. The green runes on their steel swords instantly turned black. The wind enchantments collapsed into useless dark smoke. Their massive steel broadswords suddenly regained full weight. The sudden heavy burden snapped their weak human wrists. The 50 royal knights dropped their weapons in sheer agony. The heavy steel blades crashed onto the solid stone floor. They fell to their knees, clutching their broken physical arms. Their entire combat strategy relied on artificial magic. Without their precious wind runes, they were incredibly weak. I walked through the kneeling crowd of broken royal knights. My dark metal gauntlet crushed a fallen steel sword easily. The metal fragments scattered across the ruined courtyard. I looked at the terrified noble students hiding in the back. They used to laugh at my completely empty magical status. Now they cried like small children in a dark, empty room. The system projected a new, massive, glowing blue warning. System alert, extreme magical threat approaching from above. I looked up at the dark, starless night sky above the city. The arcane church launched their ultimate orbital weapon. A gigantic red magic circle covered the entire capital sky. The diameter spanned over 10,000 heavy physical meters. The intense thermal pressure pushed the oxygen away rapidly. They planned to vaporize the entire academy and all nobles. The church wanted to erase my existence at any possible cost. They gladly sacrificed their own loyal followers to kill me. A massive pillar of concentrated fire descended from the sky. The burning red laser melted the tall academy stone towers. The trapped nobles screamed in pure, absolute blind terror. The orbital strike carried enough kinetic force to end us all. I felt the extreme heat burning my dark cloth uniform. The hollow throne responded to the massive magical threat. The ancient artifact emerged completely from the underground. The giant black obsidian seat floated right behind my back. The dark chains wrapped around my physical human waist. I raised both of my bare hands toward the burning red sky. System alert. Maximum mana devour protocol is now engaged. A gigantic black vortex opened directly above my head. The spinning dark hole generated massive gravitational pull. The falling pillar of fire slammed into the black vortex. The kinetic impact shook the entire capital city foundation. The dark void swallowed the supreme destruction spell whole. The intense thermal energy vanished into absolute nothingness. The giant red magic circle in the sky cracked into pieces. The shattered glowing runes rained down like falling stars. The hollow throne absorbed the entire orbital strike energy. The massive power surge almost destroyed my physical body. My human bones cracked under the extreme internal pressure. But my empty soul easily contained the stolen magical force. The system immediately converted the energy into raw matter. System alert building new living black structure right now. The devoured fire magic erupted from the dark stone floor. Thick black obsidian walls grew around the entire courtyard. The dark stone formed a massive, impenetrable prison fortress. The trapped nobles stared at the towering black monoliths. I transformed the destroyed academy into my personal domain. The church weapon only provided me with more building material. My dark fortress blocked all external magical interference. The surviving archmages realized they were completely helpless. The strongest magic in the world could not scratch my walls. I walked slowly toward the ruined central marble fountain. The broken water pipes leaked clear liquid onto the stone. I washed the thick, dark ash off my heavy metal gauntlet. The cold water felt incredibly refreshing against my skin. The hollow throne floated silently behind my physical body. The ancient artifact waited for my next absolute command. I looked at the kneeling high priest on the ruined floor. He finally regained consciousness after the kinetic shock. He saw the massive black walls surrounding the courtyard. The old man realized his supreme orbital strike had failed. I grabbed his torn, expensive silk robes with my dark hand. I lifted his weak, fragile body completely off the ground. He dangled helplessly in the cold, empty air before me. His stolen magical reserves were now my personal property. The living magic network lost a massive amount of energy. Astrael tried to destroy this corrupt system centuries ago. He failed because he still possessed a human mana core. The ancient network eventually corrupted his pure magic. But I was born completely hollow and entirely defective. The network could not corrupt something that did not exist. I dropped the old priest back onto the hard stone floor. The heavy physical impact knocked the wind out of him. System alert. Second truth of the ancient world unlocked. The glowing blue window revealed a map of the entire kingdom. Thousands of red dots marked the hidden underground nodes. Each node drained life force from the surrounding commoners. The royal family controlled the central master node directly. My own father guarded the largest node in the eastern sector. I needed to destroy every single node to break the world. The dark throne pulsed in agreement with my destructive plan. I sat down upon the floating black obsidian artifact seat. The trapped nobles bowed their heads in absolute submission. They finally accepted their new place in my dark hierarchy. The era of magical supremacy was officially dead forever. I became the absolute ruler of this ruined, dead territory. The heavy steel gates of my new fortress remained fused. Outside the black walls, the capital city descended into chaos. I could hear the distant warning bells ringing endlessly. The royal army was likely gathering their remaining forces. They would try to breach my dark domain with siege weapons. Their physical catapults would shatter against my dark walls. The system projected my current physical and magical status. System alert. Internal void capacity is currently at 10%. I needed to devour significantly more magic to grow stronger. The hidden network nodes provided the perfect energy source. I stood up from the throne and walked toward the nobles. They flinched backward as my heavy boots hit the stone. I pointed my dark metal gauntlet at the golden imperial boy. He was the same student who attacked me with lightning earlier. He crawled forward on his hands and knees like a beaten dog. His expensive golden uniform was stained with dark, dirty mud. I demanded the exact location of the royal family vault. The vault contained the legendary artifacts of the first king. He stuttered and gave me the secret underground coordinates. His absolute fear broke his strong imperial mental conditioning. The system recorded the secret coordinates into my memory. System alert target location acquired for the next devour cycle. The royal vault would become my next massive power source. I would consume their legendary artifacts to feed the throne. The king would watch his precious magical history turn to ash. I turned my gaze toward the broken Eastern Academy wall. The sun slowly began to rise over the distant mountain peaks. The bright morning light hit the towering black obsidian walls. The dark stone absorbed the sunlight without any reflection. My anti-magic domain cast a giant cold shadow over the city. The citizens woke up to see the massive, terrifying structure. They finally realized the invincible academy was completely gone. The hollow noble they mocked had conquered their sacred ground. I felt a strange sense of calm inside my empty chest. The constant hum of the living magic network was finally silent. My dark territory provided absolute peace from their corruption. I prepared to leave my new fortress to hunt the royal nodes. The heavy dark chains wrapped securely around my right arm. The hollow throne dissolved into a cloud of floating black ash. The dark particles entered my body through my bare, cold skin. System alert. The ancient artifact is now stored inside the void. I carried the absolute destruction of magic within my own soul. The world would soon learn the true meaning of emptiness. I walked toward the fused iron gates of my dark fortress. The massive metal doors melted away at my simple physical touch. I stepped out into the terrified, silent streets of the capital. The war against the magical system had officially begun. The cold morning wind hit my face with intense physical force. Thick gray fog rolled across the empty, cold stone streets. Terrified citizens hid inside their dark, silent wooden houses. They watched my dark uniform through small, cracked glass windows. The entire capital city felt like a massive, silent graveyard. The citizens finally understood the true weight of my power. They spent their entire lives worshipping the arrogant mages. Now they witnessed the absolute destruction of their false gods. I walked steadily toward the central Royal Plaza location. Heavy steel barricades blocked the main wide commercial avenue. 300 heavily armored royal soldiers waited behind them. They aimed massive magical artillery cannons at my physical body. The heavy bronze barrels glowed with intense bright blue energy. A tall commander raised his shiny silver sword into the cold air. He ordered the artillery squad to fire their heavy weapons. 10 massive spheres of condensed plasma shot across the street. The extreme thermal radiation melted the surrounding stone walls. I did not even slow my steady, calm walking pace down at all. System alert. Incoming high-tier magical artillery detected now. The dark hollow void inside my chest pulsed with intense hunger. I raised my bare left hand toward the massive flying plasma balls. The glowing blue spheres entered my invisible dark territory zone. Their complex magical formulas instantly shattered into pieces. The intense thermal energy vanished completely into the dark void. Only harmless gray smoke washed over my dark cloth uniform. The remaining kinetic energy dissipated harmlessly into the cold air. The royal soldiers stared at their smoking heavy bronze cannons. Absolute pure terror paralyzed their weak, fragile human bodies. The tall commander dropped his shiny silver sword onto the ground. He fell to his knees and begged the magical gods for salvation. The gods could not hear him inside my absolute dark territory. I continued walking directly toward the heavy steel barricades. The kinetic force of my footsteps shook the solid ground below. System alert, converting devoured plasma into pure physical force. I punched the empty air directly in front of my human chest. A massive invisible shockwave erupted from my dark metal gauntlet. The intense kinetic blast hit the heavy steel barricades hard. The thick metal walls crumpled like cheap, thin, fragile paper. The physical shockwave shattered all the glass windows nearby. Sharp, transparent fragments rained down onto the empty street. The physical impact threw the 300 soldiers backward. Their heavy steel armor cracked under the immense, sudden pressure. They crashed violently into the surrounding solid stone buildings. The heavy bronze artillery cannons flipped over from the blast. Their glowing blue energy cores cracked and leaked onto the stone. The entire Royal Artillery squad was defeated in a single second. I stepped over their groaning, broken bodies without looking down. The central Royal Plaza finally appeared at the end of the street. A giant white marble statue of the first king stood in the center. The secret coordinates pointed directly beneath this monument. I placed my dark metal hand against the cold white marble surface. System alert. Ancient royal vault entrance has been located now. Thick layers of complex defensive magic protected the hidden door. The golden runes pulsed with immense, highly concentrated power. Any normal Archmage would need 10 years to break this solid seal. I simply pushed my heavy physical weight against the white stone. The hollow throne inside my soul devoured the golden magical runes. The ancient defensive seals cracked and shattered into black ash. The giant marble statue split in half with a loud, heavy crack. A dark stone staircase revealed itself beneath the broken monument. Cold, stale air rushed out from the deep underground royal vault. I walked slowly down the dark, endless, heavy, cold stone steps. The temperature dropped rapidly with every single step downward. Glowing blue crystals illuminated the long underground tunnel. The dark stone walls were covered in thick, ancient green moss. The smell of decaying magic filled my sensitive human nostrils. The walls were covered in ancient, historical royal family murals. They depicted the first king conquering the world with pure magic. The paintings completely ignored the massive human sacrifices. The first king built this massive vault to hide his bloody sins. He stole the raw mana from millions of weak, innocent children. My hollow soul felt absolutely nothing but pure, cold calculation. I reached the bottom of the long, dark, cold underground staircase. A massive circular chamber opened up before my physical eyes. 10 giant mechanical golems guarded the massive, heavy vault doors. They were constructed from rare, indestructible dark silver metal. Glowing red mana cores powered their massive, heavy robotic bodies. The golems detected my empty magical signature instantly. They raised their giant metal fists to crush my fragile human body. The heavy mechanical joints whirred with intense raw magical power. I did not summon any defensive spells to protect my physical form. System alert. Commencing absolute mana extraction protocol now. I sprinted forward with extreme, highly unnatural physical speed. The first giant golem swung its massive, heavy, dark silver fist. I dodged the heavy physical blow by sliding across the stone floor. The giant metal fist smashed through the solid, heavy rock wall. I jumped onto the thick, heavy mechanical arm of the giant creature. My dark metal gauntlet grabbed the glowing red internal mana core. The hollow void inside my chest ripped the energy out instantly. The bright red crystal turned completely black and shattered apart. The massive metal golem lost all power and collapsed down. The heavy kinetic impact shook the entire underground deep chamber. 9 remaining golems charged at me simultaneously from all sides. They fired concentrated laser beams from their glowing red eyes. I activated my dark spatial lock authority without any hesitation. The intense red laser beams froze completely in the empty midair. The magical light collapsed under my dark, heavy physical pressure. I walked through the frozen, shattered fragments of pure red energy. The dark silver metal was supposed to be completely indestructible, but magic held the complex molecular structure of the metal together. My spatial lock authority removed that fundamental magical binding. The heavy metal became incredibly brittle and weak under my touch. I touched each giant metal golem lightly with my bare left hand. The system drained their massive internal power sources completely. 9 giant dark silver bodies crashed down onto the cold stone. The destroyed mechanical parts scattered across the cold stone floor. Thick dark oil leaked from their broken heavy mechanical joints. The royal ultimate mechanical guardians were totally useless. I stood alone before the massive heavy solid gold vault doors. System alert void capacity has increased to 20%. My physical muscles bulged with the newly devoured raw power. I punched the center of the giant solid gold royal vault doors. The heavy metal structure tore open like thin, wet cardboard. I stepped into the most secure hidden location in the kingdom. Mountains of shiny gold coins and rare jewels filled the room. I completely ignored the useless, heavy physical material wealth. My dark eyes focused entirely on the center of the massive room. 3 legendary artifacts floated above a white stone altar. The crown of infinite wisdom glowed with intense bright blue light. The sword of victory radiated pure burning red thermal heat. The shield of protection pulsed with heavy solid green earth. These 3 items formed the absolute foundation of authority. The first king used them to slaughter millions of innocent men. I walked slowly toward the glowing white stone central altar. The intense magical pressure tried to crush my weak human body. The artifacts recognized my dark, empty soul as a supreme threat. They launched a combined automatic defense attack against my chest. A massive beam of tri-colored pure energy hit my dark uniform. The kinetic force pushed my heavy leather boots backwards slightly. I smiled coldly at their desperate, pathetic magical resistance. System alert. Commencing total consumption of legendary artifacts. I reached both of my hands directly into the burning energy beam. The dark, hollow void expanded rapidly from my physical chest. A giant black sphere swallowed the glowing white stone altar whole. The crown of infinite wisdom contained the souls of dead scholars. The dark void silenced their eternal screams of pure, absolute agony. The crown of infinite wisdom shattered into thousands of pieces. The sword of victory held the blood of 1,000 fallen nations. My system purified the corrupted energy and absorbed the raw power. The sword of victory dissolved into harmless falling dark ash. The shield of protection was forged from the core of a dying star. The ancient throne consumed the stellar energy without any hesitation. The shield of protection crumbled into useless heavy gray dust. The absolute symbols of royal power were now completely destroyed. A massive surge of raw power flooded into my empty dark soul. My physical bones cracked and healed stronger than before. System alert: internal void capacity has reached 50% now. System alert: new hollow authority domain expansion unlocked fully. The entire underground vault began to shake with intense violence. The artifact destruction triggered a hidden security measure. A giant magical hologram of the current king appeared in the room. The king wore a massive, heavy crown made of pure, bright diamonds. His expensive silk robes were stitched with glowing golden thread. His glowing blue, transparent face twisted with absolute pure rage. He stared at the empty white stone altar in total disbelief. He recognized my dark uniform and my empty magical core. He looked like a pathetic clown playing a foolish, childish game. His loud, amplified voice echoed across the massive gold room. He ordered me to surrender my physical body to the royal guards. He promised to grant me a quick, painless death if I obeyed him. He promised to torture my physical body for 1,000 long years. He claimed the living magic network would crush my existence. I looked directly into his glowing, transparent blue magical eyes. I raised my dark metal gauntlet toward his floating royal face. I did not speak a single word to the arrogant, corrupt human ruler. I simply tilted my head and analyzed his weak magical structure. System alert. Tracing the origin point of the magical projection. The system found his exact physical location inside the High Palace. System alert. Corrupting active magical transmission signal now. My dark energy traveled backward through his magical connection. The glowing blue projection suddenly turned completely pitch black. The king screamed in absolute physical agony through the link. My hollow power was currently burning his real body in the palace. The giant black hologram shattered into millions of dark particles. The underground vault fell into complete, absolute, silent darkness. I turned my back on the massive mountains of useless, shiny gold. I needed to find the central master node of the corrupt network. The memory of Astriel showed me the giant beating blue mana heart. That massive organic structure was located deep beneath the palace. I walked back out of the ruined, heavy, solid gold vault doors. The destroyed dark silver golems littered the cold stone floor. I climbed the long, dark stone staircase back to the surface. The morning sun was shining brightly over the ruined royal plaza. The capital city was completely silent under my dark, heavy shadow. The royal army had retreated far behind the massive palace walls. They prepared for a final, desperate defensive stand against me. I looked at the giant white marble towers of the royal palace. The massive white marble towers pierced the dark morning clouds. The royal palace was built upon the largest mana node in the world. Thick, glowing blue shields covered the entire massive building. The glowing blue shields pulsed like a massive beating human heart. The living magic network pumped stolen energy into the thick walls. They funneled stolen life energy of commoners into the barrier. I could physically see the red streams of stolen human life force. They flowed directly from the lower city districts into the palace. The royal family literally drank the blood of their own citizens. Every second they maintained that shield killed innocent people. I felt a cold, ruthless determination settle inside my empty chest. I would tear down their glorious palace brick by physical brick. I stepped forward, and the solid stone cracked under my boots. System alert. Routing maximum devoured power to physical limbs. I launched my physical body into the cold air like a missile. The extreme kinetic force left a massive crater in the royal plaza. I flew directly toward the giant glowing blue royal palace barrier. The wind roared violently past my ears as I crossed the sky. Thousands of royal archmages stood nervously on the high walls. They chanted complex formulas to strengthen their ultimate defense. I pulled my dark metal right arm back for a massive strike. The hollow throne inside my soul roared with pure, absolute hunger. I slammed my heavy fist directly into the glowing blue energy dome. The entire capital city shook from the massive kinetic impact. A giant network of black cracks spread across the bright shield. The royal archmages screamed as their internal cores overloaded. The ultimate defensive barrier shattered into millions of pieces. I landed heavily in the center of the beautiful royal courtyard. The beautiful garden courtyard was filled with rare magical beasts. The kinetic shockwave of my landing instantly crushed their bones. The physical impact destroyed the rare, expensive flower beds. I stood up slowly from the massive crater of broken dirt. The royal guards surrounded me with their trembling steel weapons. The heavy royal guards pointed their long steel spears at my neck. Their hands shook violently under the pressure of my dark aura. I was now standing directly above the central master network node. System alert, final master node location is directly below us now. I smiled for the first time since my dark magical awakening began. The final battle for the fate of this corrupt world had begun. The royal guards tightened their grip on the steel spears. Their heavy metal armor rattled loudly in the silent space. I simply stared at their trembling, weak physical human hands. They knew their artificial magical weapons were quite useless. System alert. Multiple hostile kinetic targets detected nearby. The brave captain yelled a loud command to his scared men. 50 sharp steel spears thrust directly toward my dark chest. The expensive steel weapons bent backward under the pressure. The royal guards lost their balance and stumbled forward fast. I swung my heavy dark metal gauntlet in a wide horizontal arc. The massive kinetic shockwave threw the entire line backward. Their heavy armored bodies crashed into the white marble walls. The physical impact knocked them completely out in 1 second. I stepped over their broken weapons and walked forward slowly. I ignored the fleeing cowards and focused on the main building. The massive white marble palace doors stood directly before me. Thick, golden magical seals covered the heavy carved wooden wood. I placed my bare left hand against the glowing golden symbols. System alert. Absolute mana extraction protocol is now engaged. The dark void devoured the complex magical formulas instantly. The glowing golden light faded into dark, useless gray smoke. I pushed the massive wooden doors open with pure physical force. The heavy steel hinges snapped under my immense kinetic power. I stepped into the grand royal entrance hall of the high palace. The beautiful crystal chandeliers illuminated the massive room. Hundreds of elite royal mages waited for me on the grand stairs. The supreme head mage stepped forward with extreme confidence. He held a legendary wooden staff topped with a burning crystal. He began chanting a highly complex supreme destruction spell. The surrounding air temperature increased to a boiling point. A giant sphere of concentrated fire formed above his old head. The intense thermal radiation melted the expensive stone floor. I raised my right hand and pointed at the burning red sun. System alert. Extreme thermal magical threat detected nearby. System alert. Activating forbidden spell reconstruction now. The giant fire sphere shot across the grand hall toward me. The kinetic force of the spell shattered the crystal lights. I caught the massive burning sun with my bare physical hand. The hollow throne absorbed the entire magical structure easily. The complex fire formulas collapsed into absolute nothingness. The elite mages stared at my empty hand in pure blind terror. Their supreme destruction spell failed to burn my human skin. I smiled coldly and released the corrupted magical energy back. The system transformed the pure fire into black sun flames. A wave of dark fire erupted from my heavy metal gauntlet. It burned their internal mana cores with absolute precision. The elite mages collapsed onto the melting stone floor fast. The grand hall fell into complete, absolute silent darkness. I walked past their groaning, weak bodies without stopping. The supreme head mage crawled backward up the grand stairs. I crushed his legendary wooden staff under my heavy boots. The burning crystal shattered into useless, dull gray dust. I continued my descent toward the underground master node. The secret entrance was hidden beneath the royal golden throne. I reached the massive empty throne room at the end of the hall. The giant golden chair sat on a raised white marble base. I punched the solid gold throne with extreme kinetic force. The heavy royal seat shattered into thousands of pieces. A massive dark hole opened up directly beneath the platform. Thick, glowing blue energy pulsed from the deep, dark depths. The living magic network pumped raw power right below me. I jumped directly into the deep, glowing blue vertical shaft. The cold wind rushed past my ears during the long, fast fall. I landed heavily on the solid metal floor of the hidden room. The kinetic impact dented the thick steel plates beneath me. I stood up slowly and observed the massive underground chamber. A giant glowing blue heart floated in the center of the room. Thick organic tubes connected the heart to the stone walls. The current king stood directly beneath the giant blue heart. He wore no expensive silk robes or heavy diamond crowns now. His physical body was completely mutated by the raw mana. He sacrificed his own humanity to protect the corrupt network. The king raised his mutated hands toward my dark physical form. He spoke with a distorted, loud voice that shook the steel room. I simply tilted my head and analyzed his unstable structure. System alert. Massive unstable magical entity detected ahead. System alert. The target is drawing power from the main node. The king fired a massive beam of concentrated pure life force. The bright blue energy illuminated the entire dark chamber. The kinetic pressure of the beam tore the steel floor apart. I crossed my dark metal gauntlets directly in front of my face. The glowing blue energy beam slammed into my physical body. The intense kinetic force pushed me backward across the room. The extreme magical pressure tried to crush my internal organs, but my hollow soul devoured the raw energy upon direct contact. The bright blue beam dissolved into harmless dark black smoke. The giant blue heart beat violently above his mutated head. The entire underground chamber shook from the immense power. I lowered my dark arms and walked slowly toward the Mad King. The hollow throne inside my soul demanded absolute total ruin. System alert, maximum throne authority is now fully released. A giant black shockwave erupted from my dark physical body. The dark energy instantly erased the glowing blue light beam. The king panicked and tried to teleport away from my presence. I reached the terrified, mutated king in 3 quick, fast steps. I grabbed his glowing blue throat with my dark metal gauntlet. I lifted his heavy, mutated body completely off the steel floor. I squeezed my dark metal fingers around his fragile human neck. System alert. Extracting core network access from the target. The dark void ripped the raw mana from his mutated body fast. The glowing blue veins on his pale skin turned entirely black. His crystal eyes shattered into useless, dull gray glass dust. The king lost his artificial power and fell completely limp. I dropped his unconscious, weak body onto the cold steel floor. The final defender of the corrupt magical system was defeated. I turned my full attention to the giant beating blue heart. The massive organic structure pulsed with stolen human life. I walked directly beneath the massive glowing blue structure. I raised both of my bare hands toward the beating magic heart. The magical pressure tried to push my physical body away fast. I ignored the heavy resistance and pushed my hands upward. My bare human fingers touched the glowing blue organic surface. System alert, final master network node connection established. System alert, commencing absolute global magical collapse now. The hollow throne emerged completely from my empty dark soul. The giant black obsidian seat floated directly behind my back. Thick, heavy dark chains shot upward from the solid metal floor. The black chains wrapped tightly around the giant blue heart. The dark void began devouring the stored magical energy fast. Immense raw power flooded directly into my empty human vessel. My physical muscles expanded under the extreme heavy pressure. The entire capital city shook violently above my physical head. The giant blue heart began to crack under the absolute strain. A massive network of black fractures spread across the surface. The stolen life force rushed back to the innocent commoners. I watched the corrupt artificial system die before my own eyes. System alert: internal void capacity has reached total maximum. The giant blue heart finally shattered into millions of pieces. A massive kinetic shockwave blasted the entire steel room. I stood perfectly still amidst the falling heavy rock debris. The hollow throne protected my physical body from the damage. The entire royal palace above me crumbled into absolute ruin. The absolute foundation of their magical society was now gone. I sat down slowly upon the giant black obsidian floating seat. The heavy dark chains wrapped securely around my right arm. Thick dust slowly settled across the ruined underground room. The dark night sky was visible from the massive deep crater. System alert. The living magic network is completely offline. System alert: absolute global anti-magic domain established. The era of magical supremacy was officially dead forever now. I closed my dark eyes and enjoyed the absolute pure silence. My empty dark soul was finally completely entirely satisfied. The world finally understood the true power of total nothing. I was the hollow noble who broke the fundamental laws of magic. I would rule this new dead world from my dark, silent throne. The cold morning wind blew across the massive ruined stone crater. Thick gray dust settled slowly over the broken white marble pieces. My dark, empty eyes scanned the ruined landscape directly above me. Hundreds of surviving elite nobles gathered at the steep crater edge. They stared down at my physical body in absolute, pure, silent horror. The invisible magical energy was completely gone from this area forever. They finally realized their absolute, supreme magical power was totally dead. System alert. Global anti-magic domain is perfectly stable and active. I remained completely motionless on my dark, heavy obsidian floating throne. I watched the pathetic, weak humans panic like trapped, blind little insects. Now they were the ones without any real power or true, meaningful purpose. A tall, older man pushed through the terrified noble crowd at the edge. He wore the heavy silver armor of the Supreme Royal Military Commander. It was my biological father from the ancient noble Velcrest family. My father demanded that I restore the magical network immediately without delay. System alert. Hostile physical threats detected at the upper crater edge. I stood up slowly from the giant floating black obsidian stone seat. The heavy dark chains retracted back into the solid broken stone floor. I jumped upward with extreme, highly concentrated, pure physical force. I landed directly in front of my terrified former biological family members. My father swung his massive, heavy steel sword directly at my dark neck. I did not dodge his pathetic, slow, physical, heavy metal weapon attack. I raised my bare left hand and caught the sharp steel blade effortlessly. The immense kinetic force stopped completely upon direct physical contact. My dark metal gauntlet crushed the solid steel into tiny broken pieces. My father stared at his empty hands in complete, absolute, pure shock. I punched his heavy silver chest armor with my right dark metal fist. The thick metal plates crumpled inward like cheap, thin, fragile paper. His weak physical body fell unconscious onto the cold, hard stone ground. System alert. Primary physical threat neutralized completely and efficiently. My older brother drew his twin silver daggers in absolute blind panic. I stepped aside and let his own physical momentum carry him forward fast. I struck his neck with a precise, heavy, hard, physical, blunt force blow. He collapsed instantly onto the broken white marble ruined stone floor. My sister fell to her knees and began crying loud, desperate human tears. She begged me to spare her fragile, weak, human, physical, pathetic life. They meant absolutely nothing to me in this new, silent, dark, empty world. A sudden, massive, heavy tremor shook the ruined Royal Plaza stone ground. The terrified nobles ran away from the massive, deep, dark stone crater. A giant golden airship descended slowly from the dark gray morning clouds. It belonged to the Supreme High Priest of the corrupt ancient arcane church. System alert. Isolated artificial soul core detected directly above us. The golden airship hovered directly over the massive deep stone crater. Thick, heavy steel doors opened on the bottom of the giant flying ship. A giant mechanical divine knight dropped down from the dark morning sky. It landed heavily on the solid ground, directly in front of my physical body. I stared at the giant white mechanical machine with absolute pure boredom. It was just another pathetic toy built by weak, desperate, fragile humans. System alert. Commencing absolute soul extraction protocol immediately. The giant divine knight swung its massive heavy steel combat hammer down. I raised my right arm and caught the massive heavy solid steel hammer. My physical bones did not break under the immense heavy crushing weight. The dark void inside my chest pulsed with intense, pure, absolute hunger. I channeled my absolute authority through my dark heavy metal gauntlet. The solid white titanium handle turned completely pitch black and brittle. I crushed the massive heavy weapon into useless falling gray stone dust. I stepped inside its heavy physical guard and punched its solid white chest. My dark metal fist pierced directly through the thick white titanium armor. I grabbed the glowing yellow soul core hidden deep inside the metal chest. System alert. Corrupting artificial soul containment vessel completely now. The giant mechanical knight lost all internal power and fell instantly. I looked up at the retreating massive heavy flying golden mechanical machine. I would not allow any remnants of the old corrupt magical world to escape. System alert routing devoured soul energy to lower physical human limbs. I bent my knees and launched my physical body directly toward the dark sky. The massive kinetic shockwave destroyed the remaining white stone pillars. I flew through the cold morning air like a dark, heavy, solid cannonball. I crashed directly through the thick steel hull of the golden flying ship. The physical impact tore a massive wide hole in the heavy metal vessel. I landed heavily inside the main central control room of the flying ship. The high priest fell backward onto the cold metal floor in absolute panic. I walked slowly toward him across the ruined metal ship command deck. I grabbed his soft, weak throat and lifted his heavy body into the cold air. I squeezed my dark metal fingers until he lost total human consciousness. System alert main engine core located in the adjacent lower ship room. I punched through the solid steel wall with extreme heavy kinetic force. A massive glowing yellow cylinder hummed loudly inside the dark chamber. It contained the trapped souls of 1,000,000 innocent dead human commoners. I placed both of my bare hands against the hot glowing yellow glass surface. System alert. Initiating absolute soul liberation sequence immediately. The dark void inside my chest expanded rapidly across the entire metal room. The thick glass cylinder shattered into millions of tiny, sharp, broken pieces. A massive wave of pure yellow energy washed over my dark cloth uniform. The trapped innocent souls were finally released into the empty, cold air. The golden airship immediately lost all altitude and began to fall down fast. I jumped out of the massive wide hole in the thick, heavy steel ship hull. I plummeted toward the ruined capital city like a dark, heavy falling star. The massive golden airship crashed into the empty lower city stone district. A giant shockwave of kinetic force leveled the surrounding empty city blocks. I landed perfectly on my feet in the center of the ruined Royal Plaza again. The kinetic impact cracked the remaining solid white marble floor stones. System alert. Total suppression of all magical threats is completely done. The entire kingdom was now completely devoid of any ambient magical energy. The surviving elite nobles crawled out from behind the broken stone ruins. They looked at my dark physical form with absolute pure, total silent worship. They realized that raw physical power was the only true absolute authority now. I walked slowly toward the massive deep stone crater in the central square. The giant black obsidian throne floated silently above the deep dark hole. I sat down on the cold dark stone seat and rested my heavy tired human arms. System alert. Expanding absolute hollow domain across the entire world. A massive wave of invisible dark energy pulsed from my physical human chest. It rolled across the entire continent at extreme, highly unnatural fast speed. Every single magical tower in the distant provinces collapsed instantly down. Every ancient glowing magical artifact shattered into useless dull gray dust. Every arrogant archmage lost their entire magical life source in 1 second. The era of magical supremacy was finally completely erased from human history. I looked down at the unconscious bodies of my former biological family members. They would wake up as ordinary, weak, fragile humans in a cold, hard, physical world. They would have to learn how to survive using only their own bare physical hands. My hollow throne demanded absolute complete equality through total destruction. System alert. Final synchronization with the forbidden dark throne is complete. My physical body was now permanently fused with the dark, absolute, endless void. I did not need to eat or sleep or breathe the cold morning air ever anymore. I was the ultimate, supreme physical god of this new, empty, silent, dark reality. The surviving elite nobles began to bow their heads toward my dark stone seat. They pressed their dirty, bruised faces directly against the broken, cold stone. They offered me their absolute, pure loyalty to save their pathetic, fragile lives. I simply closed my dark, empty eyes and listened to the cold morning blowing wind. I would not rule them with complex laws or fake religious, divine, magical mercy. I would rule them with the absolute silent threat of total, endless nothingness. The hollow noble had finally conquered the entire corrupt, artificial, magical world. My long, violent journey of pure, absolute destruction was finally completely over. I sat alone in the dark silence and waited for the next physical combat challenge.
This video and everything in it are completely fictional and original creations by Manhwa. The story is made only for storytelling and entertainment inside a fictional universe. It isn't meant to encourage violence, dangerous actions, or harmful behavior, and nothing in this video should be copied in real life. All characters shown in this work are fictional and are presented as 18 years old or older. This content is made only for entertainment and isn't intended to offend, attack, or harm any person, group, or organization. This channel is more than just entertainment. It's made to share deep ideas, powerful meanings, and valuable insights through stories that make you think and feel in a new way.